All-in-one aquariums are easy to set up and perfect for both saltwater and freshwater. The Waterbox Cube 20 comes with everything you need to get started. Included is the aquarium, filter sock and holder, filter sponges, filter media, return pump, return tubing, and nozzle. We are using the optional cabinet available for the Cube 20. To set up your cube as a reef aquarium, you'll also need a heater and a high output light. We use and recommend the CJ Jolly 20 watt heater and Aqua Illumination Prime HD with 12-inch flex arm. First, attach the return tubing to the pump outlet, then place on the bottom of the pump chamber. Cut the return tubing to proper height and install nozzle through the hole. The heater, filter sponges, and carbon are placed in the middle filter chamber. Always rinse carbon before use. The biological media that is included with your water box will not usually be used in a reef aquarium. We recommend using in the freshwater or fish-only setup. Now, place the filter sock and holder in the overflow chamber. Install your light centered on the back glass of the aquarium. Now that all the equipment is in place, we can add the sand. We are using Carib Sea Aragili Fiji Pink. Live sand provides the benefit of adding bacteria and a shorter cycle. 1 to 2 inch sand bed depth is best. Be sure to remove the clarifier packet from the sand. We are using the Waterbox Cube 20 Carib Sea Life Rock bundle. Carib Sea Life Rock adds beneficial bacteria to your aquarium and comes in many shapes. When aquascaping, aim for space between rocks, different levels, and open water space for fish to swim. Once you're happy with your aquascape, it's time to add your water. For saltwater aquariums, you cannot use tap water. RODI water must be used. You can make this at home with an RODI unit or purchase water from your local fish store. Add the water gently into the aquarium over the rocks to avoid stirring up the sand. Once your aquarium and back filter chambers are filled, plug in the return pump and heater. With an all-in-one aquarium, water circulates through the back filtration chambers and back into the aquarium. The water enters the filter sock chamber through the weir teeth, then passes through the filter sock, which collects waste, debris, and particulates. Water moves into the middle chamber while it passes through your media. The middle chamber water will stay at the set level. The final chamber is where the return pump operates. The pump pushes the water through the nozzle and back into the aquarium. Water evaporation will happen in the return pump chamber, so you'll need to check daily and add fresh RODI water to bring them back to normal level. Your aquarium must now cycle in order to be stable enough to add livestock. We are adding beneficial bacteria to speed up the cycling process. For your aquarium to safely be able to house inverts, fish, and coral, it must be cycled. Cycling is a process of establishing the bacteria that quickly breaks down fish waste and food into a less harmful matter. Fish food and waste breaks down into ammonia, which is very toxic to live animals. A specialized bacteria breaks down ammonia, turning it into nitrite, which is less toxic. A different strain of bacteria breaks down nitrite to nitrate, which is a non-toxic except at high levels. Nitrite is then removed through water changes. During the cycle, these bacteria must grow to a high enough population that ammonia is broken down to nitrate quickly. Adding Carib Sea live sand and life rock introduces beneficial bacteria into the system right away. We are also adding a liquid bacteria supplement to speed up the cycle process. For any cycle to start, you must have a waste product to break down into ammonia. We utilize a fishless cycle so that no live animals are harmed or stressed. A fishless cycle uses fish food as waste product instead of live fish. Feed your aquarium every day or two a small amount of food. During your cycle, you need to test your water every few days to monitor ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate levels. The length of the aquarium cycle process will depend on how much beneficial bacteria you already have established in the aquarium. Before adding any livestock to your aquarium, ammonia and nitrite levels must be at 0 and nitrate should be under 20. During the cycle, continue to add bacteria to the system. It is not necessary or recommended to have your light on more than an hour or two a day while cycling. By starting with your cleanup crew, it allows time for you to continue monitoring your water levels, and they will clean up any waste and debris from the cycle process. Hermit crabs are great for eating fish food, waste, and algae on the rock. Red tip, blue leg, and scarlet hermit crabs are best choices. Trochus, nerite, and sarah snails will clean algae from the rock and glass. Turbo snails are good for large aquariums or if there's an abundance of algae. Necarious conchs and sarah snails are an excellent choice to sift, aerate, and clean your sand bed. After your cycle is complete, add the cleanup crew in smaller quantities. Adding too many in the beginning will result in a large percent of them dying off due to lack of food. Inverts can be sensitive to changes in water conditions, so you need to acclimate them to your aquarium. This can be done with minimal supplies. You'll need a small bucket or container, airline tubing or drip acclimator kit, and a plastic clamp. Empty your new inverts into the container, clip one end of the airline tubing inside the aquarium, and then start the siphon. Make a knot in the tubing and tighten or loosen to get the desired drip rate. Double the water volume in the container in a 45 to 60 minute time period for proper acclimation. Keep in mind that you're removing salt water from your aquarium and want to replenish the lost water with new salt water and not fresh water. Now the acclimation is complete, you can place the inverts into the aquarium. Make sure to place snails in the upright position, as many cannot flip themselves over. Continue adding bacteria, fish food, and testing your water for a week to ensure ammonia and nitrite levels stay at 0. Once the cleanup crew is in the aquarium for at least 7 days and the water test results are 0 ammonia and nitrite, it's time to add your first fish. Make sure to properly research fish to know their mature size, temperament, and diet before purchasing. For the Cube 20, we want small and peaceful fish. We can keep 4 to 5 fish depending on their size, but do not add all at once. Clownfish are a favorite among almost everyone and a great beginner fish to add to the Cube 20. Stick with the oscillators or pacula species as they are smaller and more peaceful than other types. Some other great fish choices for the Cube 20 are firefish, small gobies, blennies, royal grama, and cardinal fish. We're starting with 1 clownfish and we must acclimate it before adding to the aquarium. You'll need a small bucket or container, fish net, airline tubing or drip acclimator kit, and a plastic clamp. Empty your fish into the container, clip the airline tubing to have one end inside the aquarium, and then start the siphon. Make a knot in the tubing and tighten or loosen to get the desired drip rate. You'll want to double the water in the container in a 30 to 45 minute time period for proper acclimation. Keep in mind that you're removing salt water from the aquarium and want to replenish the lost water with new salt water and not fresh water. Now the acclimation is complete, you can place the fish into the aquarium. Make sure to gently net and release the fish to avoid damaged scales and fins. Feed your fish a small pinch of food daily, make sure not to overfeed. Continue adding bacteria and testing your water for the next 7 days before adding coral. Once the first fish are in the aquarium for 7 days and water test results are 0 ammonia and nitrite, it's time to add your first coral. There are 3 categories of coral: soft coral, LPS, and SPS. Soft corals have no calcium skeleton, meaning they're easiest to keep and grow the fastest. Coral in this group include leathers, mushrooms, zoanthids, polyps, and more. LPS stands for large polyp stony, which means it has a calcium skeleton and soft flesh. These are moderate care and can vary from medium to fast growth. Coral in this group includes Euphyllia, Favia, Goniopora, chalices, and more. SPS stands for small polyp stony. This coral is almost completely calcium skeleton with little flesh and small polyps. These are the hardest to keep and slowest growing. Coral in this group includes Moniopora, bird's nest, Acropora, and more. With a new aquarium, we recommend starting with soft coral. We're adding soft corals like star polyps, daisy polyps, leathers, and mushrooms. You should acclimate your coral. This can be done with minimal supplies. You'll need a small bucket or container, airline tubing, or drip acclimator kit, and a plastic clamp. Place your coral into the container, clip the airline to have one end inside the aquarium, and then start the siphon. Make a knot in the tubing and tighten or loosen to get the desired drip rate. You'll want to double the water in the container in a 30 to 45 minute time period for proper acclimation. Keep in mind that you're removing salt water from your aquarium and want to replenish the lost water with new salt water, not fresh water. Now that acclimation is complete, you can place the coral into the aquarium. Place them in your desired location and monitor them for the next few days to ensure they open fully. If they do not, move them to a new location until you find a spot where they are completely open. Continue adding bacteria and testing your water for the next 7 days. Clean the glass when you see any algae buildup. Take caution to use a clean algae magnet and do not allow any sand to become trapped in the pad. It is best to clean along the sand line with a scraper blade. Remove and rinse your algae magnet after each use to keep free of any buildup. The filter sock should be replaced at least once per week or earlier if it becomes clogged. Filter media such as carbon and phosphate remover should be replaced once a month. Always rinse media before adding to the aquarium. 10 to 20% water changes should be done every 2 weeks. Before you start a water change, be sure to have all necessary supplies on hand. You'll need replacement salt water, buckets to drain water into, and a siphon hose. Having a small pump to drain and fill your aquarium is not necessary, but very helpful. Turn off your return pump, heater, and any other equipment that is affected by aquarium water level, such as a protein skimmer or an auto top-off unit. Use a siphon hose or pump to drain water into the empty containers. This is a great time to clean your filter sponges. It is best to rinse them in the old salt water to avoid losing any beneficial bacteria that has grown on the sponges. Add the new salt water into the aquarium. Be sure to add it gently over the rock to not disturb the sand. Once filled to original water level, turn on all equipment. We are using the XP Aqua Duetto, which includes everything needed to get set up: sensor, controller, pump, siphon break, and tubing. The water level sensor must be placed in the return pump chamber at the desired operating water level. Attach the tubing to the output of the pump, cut to the length needed to reach the return pump chamber. Secure the hose bracket into place and insert end of tubing. Make sure to keep it above the water line. The siphon break needs to be installed on the tubing. It should be higher than the water level in the reservoir, but not outside of the container. Water will drip from the siphon break when the pump is on. Plug the sensor and the pump into the controller, then plug in the controller. When evaporation occurs and the water level drops below the sensor, the pump will turn on and add fresh water to the aquarium. Once water level is back to normal, the pump will turn off. LPS stands for large polyp stony, which means they have a calcium skeleton and soft flesh. These are moderate care and can vary from medium to fast growth. Some LPS coral types are not the best choice to start with as they have more specific care requirements. These include Goniopora, bubble coral, sun coral, and scalemias. We're going to add easier to keep LPS varieties such as Duncans, Hammers, Favia, and Chalices. You should acclimate your corals. This can be done with minimal supplies. You'll need a small bucket or container, airline tubing or drip acclimator kit, and a plastic clamp. Empty your coral into the container. Clip the airline tubing to have one end inside the aquarium and then start the siphon. Make a knot in the tubing and tighten or loosen to get the desired drip rate. Double the water volume in a 30 to 45 minute time period for proper acclimation. Keep in mind that you are removing salt water from your aquarium and want to replenish the lost water with new salt water, not fresh water. Now that acclimation is complete, you can place the coral into the aquarium. Place them in your desired location and monitor them for the next few days to ensure they open fully. If they do not, move them to a new location until you find a spot where they are completely open.